Yes, always one of the mid lane favorites. Kukulkan, very straightforward kit, wants to just hit his line skill shots and deny some area with Whirlwind. That playstyle is still there. The only big difference is for him in Smite 2, now his passive only counts item mana, so you have to be a little bit more intentional in order to get the most out of this very, very strong but easy to use passive. And something really, really cool is now, well, first of all, the effects, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we did kind of a whole kind of color thematic shift with Kukulkan to make him feel like he had a more unique identity. Smite 1, it was actually kind of like intended to be like realistic wind, which was just kind of like gray or almost even invisible in a lot of places.
Yep.
And a lot of like strobing effects that were a little hard on the eyes, so there was a big kind of color theme change here.
Yeah, speaking of little change there, you see the AO2 normally blue, but when he steps inside his Whirlwind, it turns red, and that's because if you use your 2 while inside your own tornado, instead of getting your movement speed buff that cleanses slows, all that kind of stuff, now we're missing us with all this survivability crap. It's just it's a dash that does damage and slows. It doesn't have the movement speed afterwards, so it's a much more aggressive option. But it allows you to really try and do that burst combo for Kuku really, really well. It really catches people off guard, and just having something conditional that is a little bit more narrow, I think, is a really, really cool way for experienced Kukulkan players to flex their knowledge and their ability to get the most out of a kit. So I'm excited for us to do more abilities like this that are more niche, more conditional, but powerful when you get the right opportunity to use it.
This one was just also fun, and it's one of those stories where it's like, hey, we wanted to do more interesting things for these gods, and then we was like, oh, Kukulkan, we can do stuff for the passive, and then like AJ and Pawn one day was like, let's just do this, and I was just like listening to their conversation while working things aside. I'm like, we're doing what? And then like a week later, it's in the game, and I'm like, oh, sick, this is awesome.
Faster than that with all of our cool
it was like the next day
tools,
or something.
the Unreal Engine
like,
5.
I know, right?
Based on testing, based on like the new things that we can do, just like we just got it in, which is awesome.
That's awesome. All right, let's take a look at Neith now.
Another god with a very big playstyle change.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I think this character is a int mid character first now.
Sure. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I can see her being played in both. Starting right off.
What?
Leap can now go over walls.
Backflip over
walls. Created ones, or
as long as you have a valid landing.
I had to show it off that way.
Yeah, that's good. Through the big window. Love it, Pawn.
And so Neith, like we said, she's one of those gods that definitely took the hybrid role and was a little bit more serious about it. The 3 is one of those ones where we'll also be doing magical damage in the 2 as well. Spirit Arrow is going to be hybrid. Ulti is going to be a hybrid. Other things there. So we wanted to take Neith, and we know she's going to be a pretty popular god. She's one where she has like a playstyle that's basic and easy to understand, and it's where we want to take the skill floor and skill ceiling, and really wanted to make sure that we create a little bit more depth to character, but we don't necessarily alienate the players who love her. Right. And so one of the big changes that we did is around her passive and around her weave. So her 2 now, Unravel, is going to be the weave generator. Whenever she uses this, she'll always create 1 weave in the center of the deployable and 1 weave per god that she hits as well. Her 3, her 1 or 2, that combo's still there. That'll be there to explode the weaves, and you can explode all of them. And her 3 now is not the weave generator, it's also a weave spender, and it can blow up those weaves in the exact same way. So the weave explosion is now kind of the passive itself, and we want to make sure that she has a gameplay that's more based around weaves. I mean, she's like the Weaver of Fate. We need her to play around with that gameplay a little bit more. So she also gains a stacking buff based on weave explosions. You can see that on the buff bar as well, stacking up to 3 times.
And so
intelligence and
generally,
attack speed.
Abilities will only deal like 1 type of damage. Not all the time. Some places they're split, like we showed Kernino. So like Neith has some abilities that deal magical or physical damage, but then she can benefit off of both intelligence and strength in certain scalings and in certain amounts.
Yes.
So you can still build traditional carry Neith and get some strength scaling on most or all of her abilities.
Most of her.
But then if you build high int Neith, you can really just be focusing on dropping weaves and blowing them up, and more of a ranged nuker, and not really using your basic attacks nearly as much.
Right.
And it's still very viable, and it powers up the abilities a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, that spamming bots really
the bots have a very long name.
had a rough effect on that tab screen.
Yeah. I remember the first time I played Neith, I tried to 3-1, do the old combo.
Yeah.
I don't know about this, man.
Yep. There was a lot of concern about that.
This is fun.
It's so core. And then 2 games in, I was like, oh man, the 2-1 combo it's so much You know, you don't have to use your escape. You're not
And that's a
backing
big one.
yourself up.
We were
Like,
thinking about that.
it's
We're
so
like,
easy.
why is her escape the thing that creates like the opportunities in lane and in field? That's kind of just a trap for casual players as well. For experienced players, like you wouldn't need to utilize.
Yeah,
like,
those are
your
things we
movement.
often ended up reworking in Smite 1 because of community feedback over time.
Yeah.
Right.
And
And
now
if you're
you're-
running away, you to your feet, then
And
turn
then you-
backflip, and it roots
feels-
the enemies behind you. It feels so
This character's skill ceiling definitely higher.
Oh, yeah.
yes, much higher.
I mean, we played around with a
really
lot of
cool.
stuff. The ulti used to drop a weave as well, and then we realized that's broken as hell. So
Yeah, you can do that, and that would immediately kill the person.
Yeah.
Shout outs to the alpha playtesters.
There we
again,
go.
And shout outs to
It was good.
FEMA making change.
Yep, and another thing that changed there as well is the ulti used to be stealthed inside stealth bushes during that time, and now you're revealed because you're in an active channeling state. So you can't just hide inside a bush, ulti one to blow up a weave and like destroy that one person. But there's still a lot of fun stuff to do.
Yeah, and that's an important rule for all characters, like channeling. You don't just want to be hit with a giant invisible area. Someone's
Yeah.
channeling. Like, that just looks weird and wrong. Oh, well.
Those who have followed, you know, my podcast, the Backliners podcast, all that kind of stuff, they will know that I have
Plugs
been
on the official
I know, right? We're doing a show tonight to talk about all
dare
this.
you.
You know how it's going to be. I have been a notorious Zeus shield hater. You know, in my mind, this is the risk-reward character, where if you make a mistake and I hit my chain lightning among two gods that are bounced, you know, together, I'm going to be able to do insane things. If I miss, oops, I died. Sorry, team, I'm not that useful. That's the whole draw to this character to me, always has been, and this is one of the things that I'm most excited about for people to get to play with is Zeus's new identity, because I think he really does feel so different in a really refreshing and fun way. So AO1, still chain lightning. The 2, no shield. Instead, it's this stim where lightning comes down, hits everyone around him, applies a charge, and then he gets movement speed and a bunch of attack speed. And we've been talking a lot about ADC Zeus, Strength Zeus. It's because of this ability that it enables. It's really an in-hand stim that allows his kit to feel more in-handy and tie in with that passive that he's always had. You might notice the longtime Zeus players out there that Pun is detonating, and it's not removing these detonate stacks. It's not this OP.
It's also stunning.
Yeah, it's also stunning, by the way. I was
surprise,
getting there. It's back. The stun is back, but it doesn't remove the detonate stacks. You don't have no cooldowns most of the time, but it allows you to stun and then keep in-handing for a lot of damage without feeling like you're dropping these detonate stacks and then you're losing your in-hand damage and all this kind of stuff. I think Zeus does have one of the bigger playstyle shift changes of the Alpha Weekend 1 gods.
Play him in duo lane.
Play him in the jungle.
I think Jungle Zeus feels really good, and Dual Lane Zeus, you know, he definitely losing the 2 in Smite that he has in Smite 1 does hurt his wave clear a lot, but it enhances his PvP capabilities. You know, it's a minus in PvE, plus in PvP, and I think that really makes you think about this character in a whole new way. Like I said, Zeus Jungle I think is fantastic. Zeus ADC feels
Strength
great.
Zeus.
Well,
Strength Zeus.
I think
Crit Zeus.
I think you have even more flexibility than that. I think you could play support Zeus, and you could build CDR and tanky, so you could just be in the middle of the team, constantly applying charges, and with low
Stunning
CDR,
people?
stunning people,
God.
stunning
Oh my
people.
God.
That
General
is a lot of
isolation
early
exists.
pressure
I
that
wanna try
transitions
that.
to like a tank. I think there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this.
Yeah, solo
What
Zeus,
have you
where the
done
lane
giving them this
clears.
idea? Like,
Yeah, no, like I can think, you know, I'll just talk about all the ways to play Ymir. I think there are so many ways to play Zeus, and I just like, I can't wait to get to play him against a bunch of new people. Like,
There's also a little sneak preview here of a feature where the enemy's health bars have 3 pips that light up for the number of charges.
Yes.
They're not lighting up currently. Potentially.
Yeah, the bots are a little bit
yeah.
weird. It works like a lot of our features against bots right now are a little bit buggy. They work a lot better against players.
I'm not sure if this feature for Zeus's charges is actually in Alpha 1 or not, but you'll be able to see that if you have charges, and you can even see that as long as you have vision of the characters. You can see it over walls.
Yep.
Because previously you have to see the little orbs.
Yep.
Now, as long as you can see their nameplate, you can see that UI element that shows you if they have charges.
yeah.
Yep.
yes, it
It
feels
is
really good.
sick.
So much more clarity for him. It makes a huge difference for sure.